there, and welcome back to Hold and Modify, YouTube's most poorly produced, underproduced Amiga program. Yes, here we film off monitor like true professionals. I'm Q, and I'm coming at you today with another AmiNet adventure and Lightwave adventure. So I'm kind of continuing this theme of exploring the wonderful world of AmiNet. Q, remember to say AmiNet or they get really fussy. And then bringing them into Lightwave. Why Lightwave? Because look, that's what I use the most. I love it. Yes, one day I will promise I'll try and get into other programs. There's Imagine, which I did used to use back in the day, and I have covered briefly on this channel. If you go back and look through some of my old videos, you may find those. And then there's programs like Real 3D and Hash Animation Master, Sculpt Animate 4D. There's a bunch, but Lightwave, as you all know, is my favorite. So if that's going to interest you, stick around and we'll see what happens.
This computer will rule the world.
All right, so we're over here on AmiNet, and I've gone ahead and dumped into the old Pix 3D OBJ area. And let's just scroll down here and see if we can find something fun to play with. There's a football object. Yeah, football season's over. Well, here we go. Star Trek 1701. Oh, the original Enterprise. Well, look at this, 1701A. So this is the refit Enterprise. Oh man, look at this. This is way back when, in May of 1996. He used Lightwave 3.5, he thinks he recalls, and tons of memory. Tons. I wonder what tons of memory is back then. And if you look down here, let's see here. Oh, it says, please email me. So I'm not going to scroll any further because I don't want him to get blasted. But yeah, it says, after buying Lightwave 3.5 for the Amiga, I decided to convert my Imagine Enterprise object to Lightwave. Okay, so he built this in Imagine, and then he's going to convert it to Lightwave, which you could do. So that's pretty slick. All right, let's go ahead and grab this. Now, this isn't just going to be me downloading a Lightwave file from AmiNet yet again, and then just showing it to you. I actually want to go over a specific technology that Lightwave Renderer could do back then, and I think still does to this day. This actually came up in a recent post in the Lightwave 3D support group, and that is, what the heck is field rendering? You're probably born after 1990, you probably don't know what field rendering is, or maybe 2000, of course, you're not gonna know what field rendering is, but in the olden days, in the old CRT lands, with the big boob tube TVs like our 1084 monitors and whatnot, there's an electron ray gun that fires back and forth, right? And that draws the image on the screen, and it does it, every other update. There's a field in there. There's a whole technology behind this, and of course you can Google it. That image is comprised of the scanning beam, and it's an interlaced signal, hence the whole interlace flicker type thing. But that scan gun is just going in here and updating each line. And one of the tricks with field rendering is that you can, in between every other line or every other scan, okay, you can update that information with new information. The first set of fields that it draws, so like half the image, that is going to be, let's say, frame 1 of your animation. The second set of fields that it draws, that's going to be frame 2 of your animation. So in a way, you're kind of, it's like an interframe. So instead of frame 1 and then you go to frame 2, it's like frame 1, then frame 1.5, then frame 2. You're slipping in a second frame into the first frame, if that makes any sense. So when the little scan gun does its update, it'll draw the first line with frame 1, essentially. And then the second line, it's going to use frame 2, okay? Sort of. It's like I said, it's like an interframe thing. So what the result is, you're gonna lose half the horizontal resolution that you've chosen, okay? Because it's putting in different information in there. But the effect is a super smooth, almost 60 FPS render quality. So whereas NTSC is normally 30 frames per second, with field rendering, it's going to look like it's 60 frames a second. It's going to be super smooth. In fact, back in the day, a lot of people would use field rendering to avoid using motion blur because he wanted really crisp, creamy looking, tight, sexy, motion graphics for commercials and whatnot, or text and title displays. And when I refer to 60 frames a second and smooth motion, it's like on modern television sets when you can activate that soap opera filter. That's what the field rendering option will do. And it's going to be, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So again, Google field rendering if you really want the accurate description of what it is, but that's my 3D artist layman's interpretation of how it's doing its thing. But let's go in here and grab that object. You know, one of the things I need to do first is unpack it. Q, you didn't do that. All right, it looks like you used the proper formatting. Thank you so much. And I should have a Trek folder already, or do I not? Do I have like a sci-fi folder? I don't have, I do, here it is, Trek folder. Yay, Trek folder. And I guess we're gonna create a new directory called 1701A. Look, there's the D. So 1701A, and we'll grab the objects. All right, let's get our butts back over to Lightwave. Go ahead and fire up this scene. What the heck? Where is the folder that I created in there? Because we're in Tron. Oops. All right, Trek 1701A phaser. Now it's going to ask me for some stuff, like always, but this is only a couple things, so this shouldn't take too long. Oh, he's using the actual stars, which is going to be, and he didn't include them, but those are part of the contents. Let's see. I should have those in here somewhere, probably in space. Actual stars, yes. Okay, look at that. Ooh, this is exciting. So let's see. 25. So this is a PAL scene. So we're gonna muck it all up and set it to 30. Let's see here. Oh, look at he's got a nice little flyby bank going on with the phaser firing. Oh, that's exciting. Go to camera here. It's got PAL. So we'll go ahead and set this to D1 NTSC. He is tracing shadows. Okay, cool. No motion blur, no field rendering. And ham8, of course. And let's check our segment memory. Oop, that's really high. So he said he had lots of memory, but he was still having to use segment memory. So that's interesting. Well, of course, blast ours to 12 megs for one segment. Q, why do you want to make it one segment? As I've said in prior videos, it will render a lot faster if you do that. So you don't have to keep doing all those various chunks. Without turning on any anti-aliasing or anything else, let's go ahead and make a preview. Let's do wireframe. Oh yeah, let's go ahead and wait for this. This is probably gonna look pretty cool. Be back in just a minute. All right, we are back. And it took a little bit, not too long, but didn't want to make you wait. Now remember, this animation was originally designed for 25 FPS. So I've gone and set the scene to 30, so it's gonna screw with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and play it back at 24, which will more approximate the original 25 frames per second intent. Let's see what this looks like. Ooh, yeah, look at that. Whoosh. Hey, yeah, dude, cool. A nice little roll, little bank, nice little camera work there. Nothing janky, nice and smooth. So that giant plus there, by the way, that's called a null or a locator. It's not like part of the model. It's something you would not see in rendering, but that's just a thing he's using there to get the phaser going. So that looks pretty sweet. Good job, dude. Nice. Oh, I love it. Imagine it's back in 1996, sitting at home doing stuff like this. That is so great. All right, so enough of that. Let's see what this looks like, right? Let's get here in this cool, that's a pretty cool shot. Go ahead and F9 that. Ooh, that's strong. That is quick. So again, he doesn't have any textures on it, so we're not going to see that. But model-wise, wow, dude. Wow, he modeled in the actual badging on here, the livery. This is all modeled. This is not texture. The only texture is the deflector dish here. Well, that's pretty cool. Like little phaser, got his little lens flare going. All right, so let's change it up a bit. Since it renders quick, let's get this nice little side shot here. Show off that. Let's go ahead and crank up some anti-aliasing since I was rendering so quickly there. So it'll look a little more clear for us. There you go. So yeah, they can see the details a lot better. Look at that. Look at that. He modeled that all. This is not a texture file. This is modeled in by hand. So, and he did this back in Imagine and then did the conversion to Lightwave. This is, that's a lot of patience. Wow. You remember, I don't like the model. This is why. That's really cool, man. Good job. So this would be a great example, by the way, luckily for us, to kind of show you what some of the benefits of field rendering. In this case, as you saw, this thing is, this thing is booking pretty fast. Like we come up here and it blasts by camera. So what we can do is kind of show you the benefits and the not benefits of field rendering. But let's grab a spot here where there would be a lot of motion blur, for example. Especially like as this beam is flying in front of camera. So we're gonna go ahead and go to limited region mode, what this does is you press and hold the L key, and you can isolate a part of the frame to render. Okay, so you don't have to render the entire frame to see what we're trying to do here. And this will be a lot faster for feedback. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna leave enhanced slow. We're gonna leave everything the same. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off trace shadows to speed it up a little more. And what we're gonna do is turn on motion blur at 50%. Okay, and then let's press F9. And so one of the things you're going to be looking here, especially this phaser, I'm assuming, is going to look pretty smeary as it's blasting by camera. And yeah, as you can see here, I'll try and get in here for you. You can see here it's kind of faded, and it's a wide fanny bush. You can kind of see this looks all soft up in here now, and everything's just got kind of a softness to it. So mentally snapshot what that looks like, right? If we go here to camera, we're going to turn off motion blur and turn on field rendering. Watch what happens now when we render. See, past 3A, 3B, 4A, 4B, 5A, 5B, it's going in there and slicing up. And what do you see right away? Well, even though motion blur is turned off, we're getting still some kind of spread here, and you're seeing these horizontal lines, okay? These horizontal, almost like scan lines. That's because you are seeing scan lines. You're seeing basically 2 frames of animation in 1 frame, every other field. They're slipped in every other field. So every other line is part of 1 frame and part of the next frame. Like I said, it's that smooth soap opera vision. This is, when you play this back, it'll effectively almost look like 60 frames per second playback, because it'll be hyper smooth in its playback. But the downside, of course, is this zippery looking effect, which is why I mentioned earlier, it halves the horizontal resolution that you have to work with, because it's got to slip in 2 frames of information into 1 frame through the magic of field rendering. Let me go ahead and set this a little higher. So Q, what happens if you turn on field rendering and motion blur? You absolutely can do that, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, I'm not saying that by using field rendering, you don't have to use motion blur, but back in the day, when these renders took so long, it's almost like, what's the point of using motion blur if you're going to do field rendering? In fact, there is some artifacting happening up here. There's like, you probably can't see it, but there's like in addition to the horizontal field rendering, half resolution stair stepping we're getting, there's like a ghost up here. That ghost is the motion blur. So yeah, you can do motion blur with field rendering, but it's almost pointless. Well, wait, if I'm losing, half of my horizontal resolution, well, that sucks, right? So can you render larger? You could, but remember, this is you're using NTSC and you're using field rendering, which is, these two go together. It's like, could you do HD resolution in field rendering? Yes, of course you could. But this was a byproduct of NTSC format, was the whole being able to, and not just I shouldn't say it that way. It's a byproduct of using an electron gun to fill and draw in an image on a screen. That's the point of field rendering, is that you're actually telling the gun, no, put this information here. You're explicitly telling the gun on the CRT to draw this, and then draw this, and then draw this from frame 1, from frame 2, from frame 1, from frame 2. That's the whole process. And then when you build this animation, when it plays back, it'll have that kind of like soap opera look. And let me see if I can find an example of that, because again, pictures are worth 1,000 words. All right, I'm back again. Now, I couldn't find a good example to like show you, so I just made something really fast. And what I did is I have a lovely, amazing spinning propeller thing here, as you can see. It's just a lovely little box that I spent all my precious time making just for you. So there you go. It's a spinning propeller, kind of a good example. So what we're going to do is conventional, enhanced medium, motion blur, 50%, sure. Okay. F9 that, and it'll go through and do the motion blur on it, and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about, the difference between field and motion blur. So here you go with motion blur, and yeah, it gets really blurry, and it's cool. That's what motion blur does. You kind of expect the rotor to do that, but some folks, again, like motion graphics people, this makes them fussy. They want motion, but they want it to be clean and sharp. You need motion blur for certain things, but we'll just turn the motion blur down. Yeah, you can do that. And that's what I would recommend. But for some reason, some folks, they want the field rendering. That's, and the nice thing with the field rendering is you don't have to render as high too, so you're saving some time there. You're losing horizontal resolution, but then you can lower the anti-aliasing because you don't need as much. And there you go. You can actually see the actual field rendering happening. And so you end up with this. So even though there's no motion blur turned on, okay, so let's go back here and turn off field rendering just so you compare. So just to confirm, there's no motion blur turned on. See, no motion blur, okay? But when you turn field rendering on, all of a sudden, you're getting kind of a pseudo motion blur because you're seeing the first frame and the second frame all in one frame interspliced into these fields. And again, this is a great, this more visually shows you how you're losing half of your horizontal resolution to do this. So that's why you have those gaps. But the point is that now when you play this back, you're going to get that kind of hyper smooth vision look because every frame has part of the next frame in it. Let me go ahead and make this animation and I'll show you. It is an anim file. All right, so now we're rendering the animation, the field rendered animation. And again, because we're using modern panels, this really exaggerates the effect. I mean, really, if you're going to field render, you need to be doing it on a CRT. You need the advantages of all the softness and blooming and chroma bleed that CRTs do. That's the only place that rendering fields really does make sense. I'm doing it on here to show you the differences now. So it's going to be, this effect of these bands you're seeing is highly exaggerated on a modern display like this, but it still will show you what I'm trying to talk about in my non-professional, no idea what I'm talking about way, the differences between a field rendered animation with motion blur turned off versus a normal animation with motion blur turned on, which I think you'll agree that regular old motion blur is much better for modern displays, of course, because I mean, this doesn't work, but it'll illustrate the example I'm trying to talk about. So here we are doing the regular old motion blur version. Now, the motion blur version is going to take longer because with motion blur, it's going to have to do the passes. So it's got to do like 5 renders per frame instead of the 2 renders per frame that field rendering is doing. But there you go. And again, on a modern panel like this, obviously this looks better. This makes more sense, and that's what you would use. But again, just trying to illustrate the differences between the two. You'll really see it in the playback, I think. All right, that's done. Let's get our old buddy View here and see if View can actually play this file. So let's view that. Please, View, don't screw me on this. No. All right, that was View. Awesome. Exit View. All right, Directory Opus, a good old standby. Let's see if you can handle this since View has gone out to lunch. Alrighty then, Mobler time. Here we go. Yeah, Directory Opus for the win. So, as you can see, that's conventional motion blur, all right? Now the weird pause you're seeing is that Opus is looping the animation. So you can see there, that's, yeah, spinning propeller thing. See how it looks? You could do more animation passes or motion blur passes to, get rid of some of that stair-steppy look, but that's the idea. And then we go over here to the field version. All right, again, doesn't quite work on a non-CRT. You need a CRT, you need the ray guns doing the ray gun thing for this to work. But the idea here is that you still get a motion blur type effect, and it will look, when it's playing back on a CRT, it'll have its like, all this will get blurred and blended and chroma bled out, and it will be properly interlaced scanned so that you get what looks like a really clear, sharp spinning propeller that still has motion blur. And I guess that's probably the best way to say it, is that the field rendering would give you motion blur, but it'd be really crisp and sharp. And again, it almost twice the frame rate of 30 FPS. So like an almost 60 FPS clarity. Yeah, if somebody wants to send me a TV set, I could maybe show it to you that way. But I hope that kind of makes sense on the whole what the heck field rendering is. I think what the best thing to say is that you don't use it. You don't need to use it. I mean, if you're trying to recreate a really old retro look, sure, but you need to be playing it on a CRT. Or if somebody's written software that properly emulates a CRT on modern displays, then that. And that would be more than just an overlay filter. I'm not talking like DOSBox overlay filters. Something that would actually recreate the scan gun and how it works. That's the only way you could really play back a field rendered animation to have it look proper, right? Just plug in a TV set, that's your best thing. Get a 1084 or something and plug it in, and then you'd be able to do it that way. All right, well, I think that about does it. I hope this was entertaining, or at least enough, maybe you could watch this while you're in the bathroom or something. I don't know. Thanks for watching. I'm done with this video.